Let's start with the obvious one, right?
T.
The team you said would win the split.
Team Liquid? They're doing great.
No, you said Team Solo Mid would win the split. Now listen, it's not all bad news, guys. They beat Echo Fox, who at the moment are about to get the fuck out of the league because they be dropping their member N-bombs. So that's who Team TSM can beat. They can beat a company that refuses to oust racists. So there's one. There's a positive for you. Not bad. Hey, we can start looking up. Now, about the person you rated number one mid laner in the league. I believe there's another show. I don't watch it personally. I only watch my own shows and my own content. I don't give a fuck about it now. Oh, sometimes I watch LEC. But I know Loco does this show called Face Check. And I tell you what, appropriate name, because the way that these guys do analysis is they just run with their face like double lift at Season 1 Worlds, a fucking brush, and hope there isn't a fucking Alistair or something in there. I think he was Alistair, actually, I think, in that one. Anyway, so in their rankings of top mid laner, I believe it was even last week.
No.
These motherfuckers.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, they all had Bjergsen number one mid laner in the league. I'm not talking about beginning of the split. I would have had him number one. They had him 2 weeks ago number one. So let's give us your thoughts on what's happening with TSM. Right. It's obviously not a good look, is it?
First of all, for the face check tier list, I will protect one person, Zyrene. Zyrene actually had Niski, Jensen, Bjerg for his top three, so he didn't put Bjerg number one. And then also,
smart boy. I can see why he's not a riot anymore.
My opinion on TSM right now, and also Bjergsen, I think Bjergsen had his worst week regionally ever. I don't think Bjerg has ever played worse than last weekend. Like, both TF games were fucking atrocious. And one thing that really made me think about last week a lot and how Bjergsen played was kind of the choice of champion. So they were in a draft situation where they were versus 100 Thieves and they picked Corki, and they already had Gragas on their team. So it's something that everyone knows. Like, Gragas plus Yasuo is the strongest mid 2v2. And that's something they could have actively opted into, and that's something they even hovered and they talked about. And instead of going for the strong mid 2v2, instead of telling the team, hey, give me the ball, I'm fucking Bjergsen, I'm going to make the shot, I'll carry you guys, he opted into TF. I have no idea if that was Tony, telling him we're going to pick TF here, or if that was Bjerg saying, I don't want to play TF, or I don't want to play Yasuo, I'm going to pick TF. But I was like, my mind was just fucking blown. Like, the fact that they wouldn't opt into Gragas Yasuo and that they don't want to play the strong 2v2 versus 100 Thieves. Like,
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Right? Wouldn't the logic there be, and it's not a terrible logic, is, remember, one of the things I have a criticism of Bjergsen for, by the way, isn't his skill level. I actually believe if he had the right mentality and the right coaching staff, he would hard carry the fuck out of games like Froggen does when he goes well in Golden Guardians, because he has the whole team set up around him. One of the complaints I have about Bjergsen as a player is that I think he sacrifices too much for the rest of his team. So in this scenario, I would guess his logic was, well, our macro's absolute ass cheeks right now, so at least if I'm TF, I can just be all over the map, can't I? I'll give up having the winning lane, perhaps, to just go and help everyone else on the map.
I can't believe I'm saying your own argument, but it is like, when you have...
I'm not even hating, I'm trying to make a case from you.
The thing is, when you have shitty players around you, you need to ask for the ball and you need to be the superstar carry. And that's the role that Bjergsen needs to fulfill right now. Like, as a leader and as the best player on that team, he needs to be the carry and he needs to take onus on himself. Like, it's a random Twitch comment, but it actually like kind of ringed. And there was like a tiny bit of truth in it. And that was like, Loco, you're such a TSM shill. You know, in Spring Split, the only reason TSM was good was because Bjergsen got to play OP champions like Akali, Irelia, and he carried the team. Of course, Acadian was much better.
Bit of an exaggeration, but there's some truth to it, right?
Acadian was much better. Broken Blade was much better in Spring. So it's Zeben and Smoothie. But there is some truth to that. Like, TSM's success in Spring came off of Bjergsen playing these like insane OP champion and having a huge effect on the game. And the fact that they're going away from that in their time of need is like crazy to me.
Here's the thing, though. Like, first of all, I think actually Twisted Fate, perfect character for Bjergsen. Because here's the thing, Bjergsen. Let me examine your Twisted Fate and pull your motherfucking card. And guess what? It ain't a gold one. But all I'm going to tell you, son, is ultimately that's the last time you'll ever be fucking global at the state TSMs right now. Straight fire. Everything I did, they're fucking straight fire.
You could have ended
fucking good. I had to big myself up. I'd act like it was my own boys fucking holding me back. But anyway, right?
You could have added an Andy Blue card one. That would have been perfect. That was the last bit that was missing.
Here's the real analysis of TSM is I sort of get it, Loco, even though I always tell people my weakest area of understanding in League is individual matchups and meta matchups, because I basically have to just follow what the rest of the people say and try and figure out which I think is the correct answer, right? But I will say this. In a world in which every fucking mid lane is like Corki versus Azir, mate, I don't actually know which side of that I would even want Bjergsen on in this current TSM. Like, why would you want to be Azir as Bjergsen in a team that's like a bunch of the other lanes are failing, you're having issues with coordinating with your jungle, your macro isn't good? It's going to be hard to find a way to win the game. I know what you mean. Like, if you could get to an Akali or something, I could see that being like a sort of band-aid that could maybe work. Like, I agree with you on that principle, but I also think if I look at what I think the coaching staff's doing, there's almost a logic to it. It's just unfortunately, you're not going to want to hear this.
You're going to love this.
The logic is basically kind of like what you've seen with Fnatic, where you are admitting that you've got to use a band-aid. You're saying, like, listen, I'm bleeding at the moment. I've got a fucking wound. All I can do is patch myself up, and I can't heal till the off-season. So for now, I'm just going to lose loads of games, or I can try some shit that seems weird and maybe grab a few wins. And at least, obviously, here's the positive for TSM. They're still in the playoff picture, obviously. Like, they've still got a very good chance of making 2 playoffs. So right now, I think they're just trying to stay afloat and get to playoffs. And then you hope for the miracle run.
Speaking of coaching staff, you're going to fucking love this. Guess who's back?
Oh, I saw my favorite character ever from an esports reality TV show. I told you, he's like Kramer, because the main show Seinfeld isn't about Kramer. It's about like Jerry, and then George is his friend, and then Elaine. But then every time you're watching it, you can't wait for that moment, can you? When Reggie, aka Kramer, hits that door, slides in. Oh, you're gonna want to jump, Bjergsen. You're not doing it right with the fucking. What's going on with the boots? Hey, listen. When I was in season 2, I used to tell the odd one, come to my mid lane all the time. I flash level 2, we get the kill. Game over, bro. Game over. Bay life. It's like he's like fucking Kramer. He's like, except less racist, obviously. Anyway,
I think you can criticize Andy's game knowledge nowadays. I don't think Andy has...
I'm joking about that, but I actually do think he has good game knowledge.
No. I respect the fuck out of Andy's like base game knowledge, but the League of Legends has changed so much, and also just general coaching and knowledge around the game has gotten so much better. Where I would actually think, like, as a coach in terms of knowledge, Andy wouldn't be the best. But one thing Andy does provide is direction, and that's one thing this team needs. But the caveat is, what about Tony? When you have an owner come in, like one way or the other, the future isn't looking good. So I still fully support and believe in Tony as a coach, but I don't know like what the future of TSM looks like. Like in 2020, like where does this go? Like if they do well with Andy coming in, like that's a bad sign. If they do shitty with Andy coming in, that's a bad sign. So yeah, like everything's just up in the air. You there? Holy shit. Right. Riot people got him. Riot people, TSM, Dorian made too much enemies.
Wait.
I'm waiting.
Right, there we go. It did the Discord bug again, where I could hear you, so I thought you were, but then I noticed you just never replied, so I could tell I was bugged. Anyway, I heard what you said, though. Here's the thing that I need to say, Loco. Nobody's thought of this, because this is one of the reasons, by the way, why, I'm not joking. This will sound like a mad, egotistic comment. Actually, I actually think I have the best superpower in the world.
What's
it's
your
just
superpower?
having a good memory.
Oh.
Having a good memory. Because when you have a good memory, a better memory than the person you're talking to, you can always find where they made a mistake, where they forgot something, where they didn't mention it, and so you'll always have an edge. So one of the areas that no one else has brought this point up is, do you remember before Zix joined TSM? Do you remember what he famously said in a leaked Skype conversation? I think he literally said something like, it's cancer to work for TSM or something mental.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why. Because his point was, you have all the pressure of the fans, you're expected to win, and the implication was, like, Reggie's going to be right up your fucking ass, he's going to be breathing down your neck all the time, like, the pressure's going to be insane. That's why I feel bad for the guy, because I agree with you, I thought Zix did a very good job in spring. Because that's the thing, this is where people never get me. Because the problem is, right, when I'm a host, I generally let the guest choose where the topic goes, because that way they can talk about it, right? And I just think I can talk about anything. So as a result, I will always look like I'm defending a losing position, because I let them go where they're strong. If I want to go where I'm strong, I can just pull it right back over. So anyone who thinks that I thought TSM was a garbage team in spring, no. I think that their actual roster was nowhere near the best. And I think to almost win the LCS off that is fucking amazing. I actually think Zix did an awesome job that split. I had no problem whatsoever him being the coach. Was he actually the coach of the split? I think he was, right? Am I wrong on that?
First spring, He had to be. Who else would it be? It would have been him or Reaper.
Wasn't it Reaper, was it?
I think it was
Does anyone
Tony.
know that?
Was it Reaper?
That's the one thing I didn't remember there.
Okay, it might have been Reaper. Okay, chat's saying Reaper. They have better memory.
Okay, anyway, I would have said if they'd have picked... Well, it's because for that one, mate, I don't ever watch the actual segments on fucking LCS half the time, so I only ever see it when it's on Gamepedia. So I will say this. I thought he did a bang-up job in spring.
Mm-hmm.
I actually even think in the context of some of the things we discussed here, I actually don't think he's done a terrible job in summer. Like, I think a lot of the failures, sadly, are player-based. I think some of the players just end up being a bit overrated. Some of them have had massive individual problems. I don't think you can put that all on Zix. And I even think they've got more wins in the league right now than they should. Like, one of the things I'm impressed with in a fucked-up way is TSM's won so many games this split that, like, for me, they shouldn't have won. I mean, the GGS one's an obvious example. Like, GGS basically were just like... It's like GGS, like, threw an alley-oop. As they were about to dunk it themselves, they alley-ooped it to their own basket, and then TSM just slammed it in at the last second. Like that game was just one where it's like, that's not in TSM's power to win the game. You need a favor from the idiots on GGS, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
When you get some of those wins, that still counts, mate. There's still a win on the board.
That doesn't count good of your team, though. That just counts with, like, GGS being garbage. That's just GGS being bad.
I don't know. Here's the question, though, Loco.
Yeah?
Surely you're not going to do this. Surely I'm not the one who has to give you a fucking pep talk about TSM. You're not just going to, like, offload them and sell the stock at you. Like, you surely still believe.
I still believe, but, oh, man. I think, here's the thing. There's, like, 1,024 situations regarding how it can play out. And then there's only 12 situations where TSM doesn't make playoffs. So I think TSM not making playoffs is, like, a fucking bullshit narrative. But I think one thing is, though, like, all this, like, TSM rogue talk, like, Andy coming in, and then, like, now this talk about TSM not making playoff, there's so much pressure on TSM players, and so much pressure on TSM overall as an org. So, and just the narrative isn't that great for TSM, and I'm not sure how they're going to do under the pressure, like, going into playoffs.